You won't believe this, but Travis Hunter, the young superstar who was supposed to be the crown jewel of the NFL draft, has just pulled off one of the most jaw-dropping, self-destructive moves we've ever seen. And fans are already calling him the biggest dummy of his entire draft class. Forget fumbling on the field, this is fumbling in real life. And it might have just cost him a staggering $46 million. Yes, you heard that right. $46 million, gone in the blink of an eye. But the story isn't as simple as a rookie blowing his chance. Oh no, this is a twisted saga of ego, betrayal, and shocking decisions that left coaches baffled, fans furious, and even Hunter's own family divided. Behind the scenes, heated arguments erupted. Shady advisors whispered in his ear, and one moment of pure arrogance flipped his future upside down. And the craziest part? This all played out like a reality TV nightmare, with dramatic phone calls, screaming matches, and even accusations of sabotage from within his own circle. Buckle up, because this is not just another NFL story, this is a full-blown train wreck. And we're about to unpack every wild detail. Travis Hunter was supposed to be the golden boy, the one who walked across that draft stage with a smile worth millions and a handshake that secured his family's future for generations. Scouts whispered about him like he was destined for greatness. It's the kind of once-in-a-decade talent who could change the direction of a franchise overnight. But somewhere between the hype, the flashing cameras, and the endless praise, Travis made choices that turned his dream into a public disaster, one that fans still can't wrap their heads around. The story begins quietly enough. Insiders claim Travis was living it up just weeks before the draft. He was surrounded by friends, family, and a circle of advisors who promised him everything. They called themselves his dream team. But fans now see them as the Vipers, who whispered in his ear and pushed him toward disaster. They told him he was bigger than the league, that he didn't need to play by anyone's rules. You don't need them. One of his closest friends reportedly shouted during a heated argument, "They need you. You're the ticket. You're the whole show." Those words sunk deep into Travis's head, planting seeds of arrogance that grew wild. Instead of focusing on training and keeping his mind sharp, he began flaunting his wealth before wealth lifestyle. Videos surfaced online of Travis buying cars, throwing parties, and bragging about contracts he hadn't even signed yet. Fans were stunned. What is he doing? One angry commenter wrote, "He hasn't played a single down in the NFL and he's already acting like a Hall of Famer." But it wasn't just fans. Coaches were furious behind closed doors. One insider claimed that a top franchise flew him in for a private meeting. And instead of showing up sharp, Travis arrived late, dressed like he was heading to a nightclub. The room went cold, and when a coach asked him why he seemed distracted, Travis allegedly leaned back and said, "Because I already know I'm the #1 pick. Y'all are wasting my time." Jaws dropped. Silence followed. And in that silence, a massive crack in his future started to form. As the draft approached, the tension inside Travis's inner circle boiled over. His family begged him to cut ties with the so-called dream team. His mother was reportedly in tears, telling him, "Baby, you're about to throw it all away. These people don't love you, they love what you can give them." But Travis wouldn't listen. He defended them, saying they were the only ones who had his back since day one. His father, on the other hand, exploded during one family dinner. He slammed his fist on the table, pointing directly at the advisors sitting across from him. "You're parasites," he shouted. "And if my son loses a dime because of you, I swear you'll regret it." The confrontation ended with Travis storming out, his mother crying at the table, and the advisors smirking like they had already won. Fans would later say this was the moment where everything shifted. The exact night the Hunter family became divided, and then came the first shocking twist. Just days before the draft, news broke that Travis had turned down a major endorsement deal worth millions. Brands were lining up to sign him, eager to plaster his face on billboards and commercials. But he reportedly rejected a $12 million sneaker contract. Why? because his advisors convinced him he could start his own brand and make triple the money. "You don't need their crumbs," one advisor said in a leaked audio clip. "You're about to be a billionaire. Why settle for $12 million when you can build an empire?" The world was stunned. Fans flooded social media, begging him to take the deal. Former players even chimed in, warning him that endorsements were the safest money he'd ever make. But Travis ignored it all. He laughed in interviews, brushing off the criticism like it was nothing. "They don't understand," he told reporters. "I'm built different. Watch what happens when I take control of my future." But that arrogance didn't stop at endorsements. During a highly publicized pre-draft workout, Travis made another infamous move. Instead of following the coach's drills, he started freelancing, running his own plays, showing off instead of cooperating. Scouts were frustrated, shaking their heads as he called out instructions and mocked other prospects. One eyewitness claimed he looked directly at another wide receiver and said, "Man, you're lucky I'm here. Otherwise, you'd be getting all the attention. But I'm the star. You're just background." The fallout was immediate. Word spread through the league that Travis was difficult, uncoachable, and reckless. His draft stock, once untouchable, began to plummet. Behind the scenes, teams that were once desperate to draft him started quietly crossing his name off the board. Yet Travis had no idea, because his advisors were feeding him lies. "They're all bluffing," they told him. "They're trying to scare you into taking less money. Don't believe a word of it." The night before the draft, the Hunter household turned into a war zone. His family wanted him to show humility, to call certain coaches and apologize, to mend fences before it was too late. But his advisors blocked every attempt. "If you apologize, you look weak." One advisor sneered, "They'll eat you alive. You have to stand tall. You have to show them you're the prize." Tension erupted into a shouting match. His mother cried again, begging him to at least sign the sneaker deal to secure something before the draft. His father, his voice shaking with anger, told him he was being manipulated. "They don't care if you lose everything," his father warned. "They'll just move on to the next kid. You're not listening to the people who love you." And then came the most dramatic moment of the night. One of the advisors reportedly looked across the room and laughed. "Your parents are scared," he said. "But fear is for losers, and Travis Hunter is no loser." But fans watching from the outside didn't see confidence. They saw arrogance. They saw a kid in over his head, blinded by fake loyalty, and sprinting toward disaster. The stage was set for a draft night unlike anything fans had ever seen. Travis walked into that arena dressed like a king, dripping in jewelry, his entourage trailing behind him. The cameras loved it, but behind the cameras, whispers were growing louder. Fans online were already predicting chaos. "Watch him drop," one person tweeted. "Mark my words, tonight's going to be a train wreck." And as the commissioner walked onto the stage and announced the first pick, the entire world held its breath, waiting to see where Travis would land. The commissioner took the stage. The lights beamed across the arena, and the first pick of the draft was announced. It wasn't Travis. Gasps echoed across the room. Fans watching at home leaped off their couches in disbelief. This was supposed to be his moment, his coronation. Instead, his name wasn't even called Dot. The cameras panned to Travis, who sat stiff in his chair, forcing a smile that fooled no one. His entourage clapped awkwardly, trying to keep up appearances, but his mother's face told the truth. Her eyes were wide, her hands trembling, and her lips whispered something only the people beside her could hear. "Oh no, it's happening." Pick after pick rolled by. Travis's mood shifted from confident to confused to outright furious. He leaned toward one of his advisors, whispering harshly, "What's going on? You said I was locked in at number 1. You promised me." The advisor, clearly sweating, tried to play it off. "Don't worry, this is all strategy. Teams are bluffing. They want to make it look like you're not a priority, but you'll get picked higher than anyone expects. Just wait." One expects. Just wait. Instead of humbling Travis, the confrontation fueled his ego. Later that night, he went live on social media, smirking into the camera. "They're just jealous," he told his followers. "I'm the future. They can't stop me. But fans weren't buying it. The comments flooded in. Bro, you lost 46 million and still talking like this? Your teammates don't even like you. Wake up. Behind the scenes, the advisors were scheming harder than ever. They pushed him into questionable sponsorship deals, shady investments, and bizarre publicity stunts. At one point, they convinced him to host a reality-style web series showcasing his luxury lifestyle. The episodes showed him buying expensive cars, throwing wild parties, and mocking critics. But the backlash was brutal. Fans saw it as tone-deaf, calling it the stupidest move since the draft night disaster. The turning point came when a financial scandal finally broke wide open. Investigative journalists uncovered documents showing that millions of dollars from his rookie contract had been siphoned into shell companies linked to his advisors. The headlines were explosive. Rookie star's fortune vanishes into thin air, screamed one article. The numbers were staggering, nearly half his guaranteed money already gone. Funneled into fake businesses and sketchy offshore accounts. Travis, blindsided, went on the defensive. In a tearful press conference, he insisted, "I trust my team. They wouldn't betray me." These reports are lies, but the evidence was overwhelming. Fans were divided. Some pitied him as a naive kid being manipulated. Others mocked him as the biggest fool in football. His family, however, was done staying silent. His mother broke down in a televised interview, sobbing as she said, "I begged him to see what was happening. I begged him. Now they're bleeding him dry and I can't stop it." His father was even harsher, declaring he chose them over us. Now let him live with the consequences. The image of a divided, broken family haunted fans everywhere, and just when the drama seemed unbearable, another twist shattered everything. A leaked audio recording hit the internet, one of his advisors bragging about manipulating him. The advisor's voice was smug, cold. "He's too dumb to know what's happening. We control the money, the deals, the image. He thinks he's the boss, but really, he's the product. And products are meant to be used." Clip spread like wildfire. Millions listening in horror. Fans were outraged, demanding justice, demanding that Travis cut ties immediately. Hashtags like #SaveHunter and #CutTheVipers trended for days. Teammates reached out privately, urging him to walk away. Even rival players sent him messages of support, saying, "You've got to get rid of those snakes, man, before they ruin you completely." But in true reality TV fashion, Travis shocked everyone. Instead of firing them, he defended them again. "People are twisting that clip," he told reporters. "My team is family. I'm not abandoning them." Fans couldn't believe it. "He's brainwashed," one commenter wrote. "He'd rather drown than admit he's wrong." The league itself began to take notice. Whispers grew that the front office was considering stepping in, that they didn't want one of their high-profile rookies becoming the face of scandal. Fines were threatened, meetings scheduled, and the pressure mounted like never before. Inside his mansion late at night, the reality finally seemed to hit Travis. Sources claimed he was heard on the phone with his mother, his voice breaking, saying, "I don't know who to trust anymore." But instead of mending the bond, the call ended with his mother telling him, "When you're ready to see the truth, we'll be here. But until then, we can't save you from yourself." The next morning, reporters caught him arriving at practice looking hollow, drained, a shadow of the cocky rookie who once strutted across the draft stage. His teammates watched him silently, unsure whether to pity him or despise him. And in that silence, one thing became clear. Travis Hunter wasn't just fighting for his career anymore. He was fighting for his identity, his family, and his soul. The cracks in Travis Hunter's world finally began to split wide open as the season approached. Every practice became a battleground. Teammates avoided him, coaches whispered about his lack of discipline, and the media swarmed every mistake he made. "He's playing like a ghost," one commentator said after a disastrous preseason game. "The kid who was supposed to be the next face of the league looks like he's already fading." Fans booed him during warm-ups. Signs in the stands read, "46 million down the drain and dummy of the draft." The humiliation wasn't just on TV anymore, it was live, in his face, every time he stepped on the field. Behind the scenes, the advisors doubled down, telling him to ignore the noise. The media's against you, they said. Your family's against you. We're the only ones who got your back. But those words, once comforting, now rang hollow. The leaked audio of them mocking him replayed in his mind like a haunting chorus. The breaking point came one night after a preseason loss. Travis returned to his mansion to find his father waiting for him at the gate. No cameras, no interviews, just a father desperate to reach his son. Witnesses say the confrontation was explosive. His father shouted, "Look around you, Travis. You've got nothing left but vultures. Your money's gone, your reputation's gone, and your family's gone. Wake up before it's too late." Travis, exhausted and broken, shouted back, "You don't get it. I can't leave them. If I cut them off, I've got no one. You left me, Mom left me, everybody left me. They're all I've got." The words stunned his father into silence. For a moment, the anger dissolved, replaced by heartbreak. His father whispered, "Son, they're the ones who made you believe that lie." Then he walked away, leaving Travis standing alone in the driveway, torn between loyalty and betrayal. The next day, the media dropped another bombshell. A lawsuit had been filed against Travis by a major brand he'd rejected before the draft. The company claimed he breached a verbal agreement demanding millions in damages. Suddenly, not only had he lost the $12 million deal, he was now being dragged into court over it. Headlines screamed, "From fortune to lawsuits, the Hunter collapse continues." Fans were merciless. "He's not just losing money," one tweet read. "He's burning it in front of us." Memes showed him literally tossing bags of cash into a fire, smiling while the flames rose. The stress finally began to show on the field. During a crucial scrimmage, Travis broke down mid-play, ripping off his helmet and screaming at himself. Cameras caught him yelling, "What am I doing? What am I even doing here?" His teammates stood frozen, unsure whether to console him or walk away. And then came the ultimate betrayal. One of his closest advisors, the same man who once told him he'd be a billionaire, suddenly vanished. Gone without warning, along with nearly $2 million of Travis's money. Investigators later revealed he had fled the country, leaving Travis to deal with the fallout. The betrayal shook him to his core. For the first time, the blind loyalty cracked. He stopped answering calls from the remaining advisors, stopped showing up to their events, stopped defending them in interviews. Insiders say he sat alone in his mansion for days, staring at the walls, refusing to speak to anyone. His mother finally reached out, sending him a handwritten letter that read simply, "You can always come home." It was the olive branch he desperately needed, but his pride wouldn't let him respond. Instead, he threw himself back into football, determined to prove he wasn't a total failure. The regular season began, and Travis's debut was shaky at best. Drops, missed routes, blown coverage. It was painful to watch. The fans booed louder with every mistake, chanting "dummy" from the stands. The commentators piled on, saying things like, "He's not ready," and this is what happens when ego gets in the way of preparation. But then, in a shocking twist, he had one breakout game. Under the lights, with critics circling like sharks, Travis caught a game-winning touchdown. The crowd erupted, his teammates mobbed him, and for one fleeting moment, it felt like redemption. After the game, he stood in front of the cameras, sweat dripping down his face, his voice trembling. "I know I've made mistakes," he said, "but I'm here to prove myself. I'm here to fight." Fans debated whether this was the turning point or just another performance in the drama that had become his life. Unfortunately, the victory was short-lived. Days later, more documents surfaced showing that the financial damage was even worse than anyone thought. Nearly every investment his advisors pushed him into had collapsed. Real estate scams, failed tech startups, even a bogus clothing line all tied to his name. The numbers were catastrophic. Tens of millions gone, debts piling up, lawsuits looming. The media pounced again. He didn't just lose 46 million, one article said. He's on the verge of losing everything. Travis's world collapsed. His cars were repossessed. Rumors swirled that he was forced to sell his mansion. Fans speculated he was weeks away from bankruptcy. The once golden prospect, the kid destined to rewrite NFL history, had become a walking cautionary tale. The family drama reached its breaking point. In a tearful reunion captured by paparazzi, his mother embraced him outside a courthouse after one of the lawsuits. "Baby, come home," she begged, her voice cracking. His father stood nearby, silent, but his eyes softened for the first time in months. It was the moment fans had been waiting for. Would Travis finally see the truth? But the ending wasn't clear. Some insiders claimed he began secretly working to cut ties with his advisors, hiring new legal help to dig him out of the mess. Others insisted he was still too stubborn, still defending the snakes who destroyed him. Fans were left divided. Some wanted redemption, others wanted him written off forever. Social media buzzed with speculation. Would Travis Hunter rise from the ashes or sink deeper into scandal? And just when it seemed the story was done, one final twist hit the headlines. A mysterious source claimed Travis was preparing to tell all in a bombshell interview, exposing everything. From the draft night disaster to the financial betrayals. Whispers suggested he was finally ready to admit his mistakes, to confess how arrogance and blind trust had cost him $46 million. The stage was set for the biggest revelation yet. But whether it would be redemption or another disaster remained to be seen. Fans are still holding their breath, waiting for Travis Hunter's next move, because in this reality TV-style saga, every chapter is wilder than the last. So here we are, at the end of this roller coaster that is Travis Hunter's wild NFL journey, or should I say his cautionary tale. From draft night disasters to financial betrayals, from family drama to locker room meltdowns, Travis has lived through a storm that most rookies could never imagine. $46 million gone, relationships strained, reputation in tatters, and yet somehow fans can't stop watching. Emotions ran high, accusations flew, and the lines between loyalty and manipulation were blurred beyond recognition. But here's the thing, Travis's story isn't over. The questions still hang in the air like storm clouds. Will he rise from the ashes and reclaim the promise he once had? Will he cut ties with the advisors who nearly destroyed him? Can he rebuild trust with his family and teammates? Or is this the beginning of a full-blown spiral that will haunt him for years to come? Every twist, every betrayal, every shocking decision has left fans on the edge of their seats. Hungry for the next chapter? This is where you come in. We need your take, your reaction, your hot takes on the biggest NFL draft train wreck in history. Do you think Travis Hunter can turn it around? Or is this the ultimate case of wasted potential? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because we want to hear exactly what you think about this drama. And if you haven't already, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next explosive update on Travis Hunter's saga. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next in this jaw-dropping story of arrogance, betrayal, and the fight for redemption. Stay tuned, because in Travis Hunter's world, the drama is never over, and the next twist is always just around the corner.